Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pushback with Chris Gergen. So the Democrats are on the move again, this time in New York State, but New York is just kind of a precursor for what you can expect to see across the country. And also, tonight we're going to give you a follow-up to a story and an issue that we talked about a couple of weeks ago regarding the open carry law, and that is where we're going to begin tonight. That law did pass. We discussed this. We discussed this piece of legislation a couple of weeks ago. Last week, my wife filled in for me, and I want to say thank you to my lovely wife. She did a great job filling in for me while I was flying back home. But this week, you get me. And she's much better, so maybe she should do the show. But I just want to follow up with this because I think this is very important. This open carry law did pass. It's on its way to the governor's desk. And what this open carry law says is that basically if there is any sort of gathering, what they call permitted gathering, if there's any sort of gathering, anything like this, where people get together, and you happen to be open carrying, then you could be put into jeopardy legally. Basically, all this law does, ladies and gentlemen, is this law criminalizes law-abiding citizens. That's all this does. And the left is completely tone deaf regarding anything to do with gun laws, anything to do with the Second Amendment. Even people in their own caucus, even people that follow them, who count themselves as Democrats, do not support this. This is a bunch of craziness. However, in Washington State, unfortunately, it is unsurprising why something like this would pass and go to the governor's desk. But I don't really want to hit the Democrats on this, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's what you can expect from Democrats, right? That's like being upset at your dog because your dog decides that it wants to bark and chase cats, right? That's just what dogs do. They bark and they chase cats. This is what Democrats do. They raise taxes. They limit your freedoms. They limit your liberties. They want to take things from you that aren't rightfully theirs. And while we don't like that, it's just simply we cannot be surprised when they do it. We cannot be surprised when they make things unaffordable, unfree, and unsafe, because that's just what they do. They create their own problems. They create problems in society through public policy, bad public policy, that they turn around and blame everyone else but themselves for. And then they pitch to the voters that they're the ones that are going to fix it. And in states like Washington, in states like Oregon, California, New York, New Jersey, on and on, the voters buy it. And there are reasons for that. We could talk at length, like hours and hours, as to why that is. But it is the way that it is. And there's no point in complaining about the Democrats. What I would like to do is I would like to discuss just for a moment before we get into this big COVID thing, which is huge, by the way, is why the hell aren't the Republicans standing up? Well, Chris, they're in the minority. There's not really much that they can do. Well, I understand that, but there are some procedural things. Why isn't the House Minority Leader stepping up and doing some procedural things to stop these things? Why is he limiting other members of the of his caucus who have a firm grasp and understanding on parliamentary procedure and procedural things that we can do to stop this? Why is he giving the Dems just free reign to do whatever they want? I mean, these people just run unabated, to the quarterback, for a sports term, nothing to stop them, and we're just getting murdered. We're just getting murdered. And this is a question, ladies and gentlemen, that we've talked a lot about on this show, not just with Representative Wilcox. He's an easy target. We've talked about Senator Braun. We've talked about other leaders in both caucuses, in the Senate and in the House, and how they're not doing the people's business. And so what we decided to do, ladies and gentlemen, probably about, 2.5, 3 months ago, is I put together a special team of people very, very quietly, that like to do research. We like to do opposition research in particular, and we like to dig into things. And we believe here at Pushback that we have found the specific reasons why our quote unquote leaders in the Republican caucus are giving the Democrats a free pass. And we're going to put this out very soon. And I can promise you, not only will you not be happy with it, but they certainly will not be happy with it, because when it gets released, none of them will have any chance of being reelected. I was serious the other night, ladies and gentlemen, when I said that I am going to work extremely hard to put every one of those people, every one of those mainstreamers, every one of those liberal Republicans who are just simply Democrats, I'm going to put every single one of them out of office that I possibly can. And we're going to replace them with America First conservatives, conservatives who are united in seeing change, not only in Washington State, but this is a problem everywhere. This is a problem everywhere. And, you know, there's no way that we can mount a credible assault against the Democrats if we're busy fighting with people that are supposed to be on our team, but are sabotaging us, pretending to be conservatives, pretending to be leaders, and just working against us. So the first step to righting the ship is to get rid of the people in office. Now, on my Facebook page earlier, I think it was last week, I reposted something from one of the leading political consultants in Washington State. His name is Chad Minnick. Chad runs an organization called the Minnick Group. And Chad is thoroughly anti-America First, thoroughly anti-Trump, and he's a mainstream Republican. And I got a lot of reaction. In fact, I had several calls from people saying, "Whoa, you need to slow down on that player. You know, you're gonna upset some people." Well, I just want to look very clearly into the camera. I don't give a shit who I upset about this. I'm coming for every one of you. And I was serious in the post that I made. You go look at my Facebook page. I was serious in my post that I made. I'm going to be watching every single candidate who hires the Minnick Group. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make sure that those candidates lose their races. That includes Ron Mazzal, which Ron isn't up for re-election this cycle, but he will be next cycle. Ron, you white privilege, white guilt, white privilege guy wanting to bring BLM into our schools. We're coming for you. And it is my intention to make sure that Chad doesn't do any more business in Washington State. It's really that simple. The Republican Party and Republican candidates gave this never Trumper almost actually a little more than $2 million in fees. $2 million. Now, to be fair, I don't believe that Chad made $2 million. I know that there's business costs, business overhead, different things. But I think he made a fairly good living. And he made a fairly good living losing elections. Steve Oban, Senator Oban was supposed to win his race, but he lost. Luann Van Werven was supposed to win her race up in Whatcom County, and she lost. There were several other people that lost. And you know what? And he had a couple W's. It's true. He had a couple W's in there. But here's the deal. Everybody who lost was supposed to win. And the ones that lost were never Trumpers, never Culpers, were mainstream Republicans, people sympathetic to the middle, unconservative conservatives. So I want to be very clear. It's going to be a tough election cycle for anyone who wants to do business with this guy. And he's the only one that I'm targeting right now. But there are some others. But he's the big culprit. And you might say, Chris, this sounds like it's personal. Well, it is a little personal because there are some things that went on last cycle that came directly out of his organization that I know about. and there's debts that need to be paid, and they're going to be paid this next cycle. And that is how we begin. That is how we begin to clean things up, is by cleaning up the political consultants who are political consulting our elected leaders on how to handle politics and handle their campaigns. We don't need any more weakness, and it starts with the political consultants. It really does. So we need to start to clean that up. But anyway, that's another story for another week. Let's get into New York City and the COVID passport. You guys have heard about this crazy COVID passport, right? So this whole COVID passport thing, President Biden has talked about, or I don't know if it's President Biden or not. It's somebody's obviously got their hand up his ass, making him talk, because this senile old bat doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Like he genuinely doesn't know what room he's in or where he's at any given time. He doesn't know. He just kind of reads the words and kind of mumbles. And when he gets off script, you don't know what the hell this guy's talking about. But he is floated, or whoever's mouthing him is floating this COVID passport. What this COVID passport is going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is it's going to make it impossible for you to move between states via airplane or train or buses, or unless you're driving your private vehicle, it's going to be difficult for you to move. Now, I'm not an old man, but I am old enough to remember East Berlin and West Berlin. I am old enough, ladies and gentlemen, and I know some of you are too, to remember the USSR. And I remember back then, when communism still ruled much of the world, that it was impossible to go from one place to another without papers, without the permission of the government. This whole COVID passport thing smells awfully suspicious. It smells awfully familiar, ladies and gentlemen. It smells like we've seen this before, and we have seen this before, because this is exactly what the communists did in Russia. This is exactly what the communists did in Germany. This is how they do business. They will not allow you to go from place to place without some sort of permission. Now, you might think, well, we're just trying to keep people safe. Well, that's bullshit. We all know it's bullshit. So let's really unpack this without, getting into bullshit. So this New York COVID passport, basically what it is it's an app on your phone. It's an app on your phone, ladies and gentlemen. And what you're going to do is the state, you have to download it from the state. Now, I want to remind you, I want you to go back in time with me on this. I want you to go on a time machine back to 2010, when Obamacare got passed, and the United States government spent billions of dollars, billions with a B, billions of dollars on the whole healthcare.gov website. It's going to be this great thing, and we're going to be able to go, and you're going to be able to shop, and you're going to be able to get, it's like Amazon for healthcare, right? I mean, that's what they built. It's going to be the best thing in the whole world, except the damn thing didn't work at all. It just didn't work. I don't even know if the website's still around. I mean, maybe some of you can put into the chat that whether or not this website's even still there, or if it just went away, like Solyndra and all this other crap that we put billions of dollars into, that we got exactly dick back from. Then in Oregon, I was living in Oregon when this happened. They put millions and millions and millions of dollars into their healthcare website. It never worked. It never worked. So now, ladies and gentlemen, magically, they're going to do a couple things. They're going to protect all of you. I want you to know the government is here to help you, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to protect your health, your health records. They're going to make sure that nobody knows any of your health records, right? All that's going to be on that app, ladies and gentlemen, is just your COVID stuff. It's in there. It's in like a little QR code thing. And and it's going to tell the folks wherever you go, if you decide to go to Madison Square Garden, or you decide to go to some restaurant, or you decide to go to, because they're wanting businesses to require you to show this COVID passport in order to eat, in order to shop, in order to go to baseball games, football games, Madison Square Garden basketball games, any sort of public thing, go to the theater, go to the movies. It doesn't make a difference. They want you to be able to show me that you are COVID negative. So either you got to prove that you have been tested, and which their own Dr. Fauci or whatever his name is, Fauci has said that the tests, hell, half of them aren't even really accurate. But that's okay. We're going to put your inaccurate information on this app. It might say that you're negative. Or what if you take the test and then tomorrow you get COVID, but your passport says that you're negative, and then you go infect a bunch of people? They know that will be a problem. And so where this is going to go is to be like, well, you know what? Everybody's just got to get vaccinated. It doesn't make a difference, who you are, where you are. You've got to show us that you've been vaccinated in order to get into this. This is mandatory vaccination. Okay. So what they're doing is they're doing this in New York. They're doing this in New York. Now, this idea has been put out also by because all these Democrats, they all work together, and Republicans on the national and state levels, they all work together, right? It's one big narrative. The Democrats are better at it than the Republicans. So this is happening in New York. Now, I looked at Washington, King Inslee, that dimwit. So this moron comes out and he says, you know what, everybody, I want to be benevolent to you guys. Everybody is going to be at phase 3. Everybody's at phase 3. Just, mask up, get your vaccination, blah, blah, blah. There's no freaking plan. There's no freaking plan on getting to phase 4. There's no plan to open anything up, which tells me, and it should tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that they have no intention of opening up. What their intention is, ladies and gentlemen, is to export that app from New York, where they are doing beta testing on it right now. Once they implement it there, you are damn straight that they're going to export it to Washington State. They're going to put down into Oregon. Well, I tell you what, as many nutbags, I call these people granola because they're full of nuts, fruits, and flakes. These nutbag granola Democrats in Washington are nothing compared to the wackadoodles they got in Oregon. In Oregon, they are actually trying to make face masks and social distancing permanent. End of story. If your ass lives in Oregon, goes through Oregon, gets within spitting distance of Oregon, you had better have a mask on and stay 6 feet away. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Go look it up. That is what they're trying to do there. California, no plan to open anything. No plan for like a phase 4 opening. Nothing. No plan. Why? How are they going to sell that? Because they can't sell it. Well, you know how they're going to sell it, ladies and gentlemen? You know how they're going to sell it? They're going to sell it by saying, you know what? I know you guys don't want the vaccine, but we would really strongly suggest you download our app, get the vaccine, and then you're good. And then you're good. But here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there's a lot of problems, right? Like everything I just said is a problem. But beyond that, who's to say that you don't do all that? And then they tell you, well, screw you anyway. You have to wear a mask. You have to social distance. Your business, small business owners, you can't really open up beyond 50% capacity. Well, 50% capacity. So what that means is that in order to get a certain number of customers that I need to sustain my business, I have to have X amount of people in my restaurant, in my retail establishment, in my building. I have to have a certain number of people go through there or be seated or be doing business with me at any given time. So if you're cutting the number of people that can be in there by 50%, that means that I have to increase the size of my building at least 50%, which increases my costs in order to just get the bare minimum number of people that I need to stay in business. This makes no effing sense whatsoever on an economic level, on a social level, on any sort of level. This makes no freaking sense at all. And I'm telling you, the Dems always play the long game. They always play the long game. They just do. And, you know, when they play the long game, they don't throw 50-yard bombs. That's what Republicans like to do, by the way. Let's get back on that for a second. These people thoroughly piss me off on a semi-regular basis. So let me just say this. Republicans like to throw the long ball, right? They like to get 30 yards, 40 yards at a time. You know, like back when in 94, in Clinton's second year, we had this whole big Republican revolution where led by Newt Gingrich, and they took back the House and the Senate, and they just murdered the Democrats. And that has kind of been the model, right? That has kind of been the model. That has been the mantra. That has been what they've preached. Well, we've got to take control. We've got to take control. We got to get that red trifecta, even though there's a governor that's blue and there's a House that's blue and there's a Senate that's blue. But this time we're going to get the red trifecta. Well, here you go, genius. How about we do this? How about we just win back the Senate? How about we just win back the House? How about we just not let them get a freaking super majority? How about that? How about we just get a first down? Can we just get a first down? Right? Can we just throw the ball, run the ball, do something? Can we just move the freaking ball forward instead of just trying to throw the Hail Mary to get the big win? This is why the Dems consistently kick our asses, because they are persistent and they play the long game. They understand that politics and public policy is a game of inches. It is a game of inches and not yards or miles. And that is why we lose, ladies and gentlemen, because we're not willing to chip away, chip away, chip away. We're constantly on defense. We're constantly trying to stop them from taking more rights from us, and we don't do anything in return. However, there is one thing that you have seen, ladies and gentlemen, over the last, 30 years. If you've been paying attention to anything, I remember when I grew up in the 80s and when I became an adult in the 90s, I remember that abortion was a big thing. It was a big thing, and it was rampant, and the abortionists were pretty brazen about things. And I'm not saying that the abortionists haven't gotten brazen here in the last 5 or 6 years with partial birth abortions and up to the day of birth abortions. It's just, that is criminal. That is a mental sickness. That is just simply murder. Let's call it what it is. It's not a medical procedure. And these believe the science assholes want to tell us that if they find any sort of bacteria on any other planet anywhere in the universe, that it's life wherever that is. But you have a baby that's growing inside of a mother, and magically that's not life. These people are so full of shit. And the reality is that we just, we shake our head and we just move on. But in the abortion fight, they are doing amazing things in the abortion fight on the right. I mean, you have abortions in this country at all-time lows since Roe versus Wade right now. But that has been a 40, 50-year fight to get it to where we are. But they were willing to pay the price. They were willing to get in the fight. They were willing to push back long enough, hard enough, because it mattered to them. And that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. How much of this really matters to you? Are you just willing to be inconvenienced and be pissed and be like, well, shit, I'm just going to get the shot and just move on? Well, you are giving away your freedom and liberty. Well, I guess, limiting bump stocks, it's okay. Who cares? It's just a little thing. It's just little, right? But then there's always the next thing. There's always the next thing. Well, I have an idea. How about if we play offense? I have an idea. How about if we start taking away the things that they want? How about we start taking away those little things like, I don't know, heroin injection sites? How about we shut that shit down? Huh? How about that? How about we shut that down? How about we shut down all of these subsidies that they are giving organizations that do exactly nothing? I don't know. How about if we start taking away some of the taxpayer funded stuff that goes to the teachers unions when the teachers aren't even in school teaching? How about we start chipping away at this stuff? Oh, well, there's political ramifications to that. That's what I hear from these Republican leaders. Well, we've got to, and the conversation always starts the same way, ladies and gentlemen. If I hear, well, I know that somebody's about to shit on me, and they're just gonna just barf all this just excuses why they don't want to get involved because they lack the guts, they lack the courage to do the right thing. I'm telling you, this thing with this COVID passport is going to be a problem. It really is, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you need to keep an eye on it. You really do. You need to keep an eye on it. And I hear all the time, and I have even said this. If someone comes knocking at my door to come collect my guns because Chairman Biden or Chairwoman Harris says that I can't have guns anymore, then it's going to be a problem. You better send somebody that's not married, because if you don't, there's going to be a widow and an orphan at the house. It's going to be a shootout, and they will carry me out on my sword. Or on my shield. A lot of people feel that way about guns. But what about due process? Do you feel that way about due process, ladies and gentlemen? There is a case right now, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to go before the Supreme Court. There was a gentleman, in fact, Tucker Carlson talked about this. I believe it was Tucker Carlson. One of those commentators talked about it, and I want to share it with you. There was a gentleman who got in an argument with his spouse. She went to the police, said that he was unstable, and he went in to be evaluated medically. Okay. So while the guy is in the hospital, the police go into his house and they're searching through his house. No warrant, no probable cause, nothing. They're in his house. They find 2 weapons and they take those weapons. While the man is in the hospital, he gets evaluated by the psychiatrist. He gets evaluated by these different things. No medical professional said that he needed to be admitted to the hospital. They said that the guy was fine. He was just upset. He was just going through normal course of life things. So he gets to come home. He comes home, finds his guns missing, goes to the cops. The cops say, forget it. We're not giving your guns back. The police stole his guns. The state stole his guns. The government stole his guns. So he filed a lawsuit. Now that lawsuit is going before the Supreme Court. Now, how the Supreme Court rules on this is going to be very interesting. Because if they nod and bless this and say, yes, the police can do this, which I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine how they could say yes to this. But if they nod and say yes on this, then what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is due process is gone. That the police can come into your house without a warrant signed by an impartial judge and just take your shit because they feel like it. And that's where this goes. That's where we are. That's the Democrats playing offense. We need to elect people who are willing to stand up and stand tall and speak loud and to fight back. So I'm encouraging you. We are at the beginning-ish of election season. I am encouraging anyone out there who is listening to this, regardless of where you live, whether you live in Washington State, Oregon State, California, Kansas, Texas, I don't care, Nevada, doesn't make a difference. If you are seeing things in your communities, if you are seeing things in your state that are not right, you need to step up and you need to run for public office. You need to educate yourself. You need to make sure that you run a credible race, that you're running at the right level. I'm not saying everybody got to run for governor or Congress. You know, everybody likes to run for Congress because it's sexy. I'm running for Congress, you know, and they say it with pride. I'm running for Congress. You know, but you know what? I'd like somebody to run for water board because I don't want my water all screwed up, and I don't want liberals screwing with the water that's coming to my house. Water board just as important. How about school board? How about we step up on school board? Because you know the education our children are getting is not good. In fact, it is full of liberal wackadoodle craziness. When you can inject racism into algebra, you have lost your freaking minds. But don't underestimate the left, because they have found a way to make math racist. Whatever it is, city council, gosh, how important is city council? How about mayor? How important is mayor? How about county commissioner? How important is county commissioner? State representative, state senate. Those are all important things. How about auditor? Washington State, congratulations. I want to give you guys a round of applause. Another Democrat goes to jail. I don't know if you've seen this, but former auditor, Washington State, is a Democrat. Can't remember his name, but he's going to jail for 366 days for lying to the Justice Department and stealing from his clients and customers and different things while he was an elected official. So congratulations there to you guys out there in Washington, always electing the best out of all of you there. Almost as good as Louisiana. You know, down in Louisiana when I was living in New Orleans, you know, we had the best politicians money can buy down there. Probably the only place you could get a better politician would be maybe Illinois, but they cost more up there, right? So Washington State, congratulations on that. But at least he went to jail. At least, and he was a Democrat, by the way. So good on the D's for prosecuting one of their own. So we have some big things that are coming up. Ignite the Right Rally, April 23rd, Tri-Cities, Clover Island. We're coming out there 7 p.m. April 23rd, Tri-Cities. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. If you've never been to a Culp rally, then you need to get out to you missed out. You just missed out on the Culp thing. But Ignite the Right rallies. These are going to be great. They're going to be not identical to the Culp rallies, but very similar. You're going to have a great time. There's going to be live music by national recording artists that are going to be there. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to have one hell of a fun time coming out, getting out there with other like-minded conservatives. If you want to wear a mask, wear one. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear one. We don't really care. All we want you to do is to be able to come out, have a good time, get some good food, listen to great music, hear some great speakers. We're limiting the speakers to only 3. And we don't want to get everybody and their grandma up there to speak. We want you guys to have a great time, to get great information, and to get to really reignite this fire as we head into this as we head into this cycle. So the 24th, we're still working on a location there. It's either going to be in Skagit County or it's going to be in Snohomish County. And when I get a specific location, I'm going to put that out to you guys. It will also be on Saturday at 7 p.m. Okay, so Friday, Tri-Cities, 7 p.m. Saturday, Skagit or Snohomish, 7 p.m. Sunday, we're going to be down south, maybe Bonnie Lake, maybe Buckley area, maybe Yelm. We're trying to get out in that area, but that one will be a little bit earlier. It'll be probably 4 or 5 p.m. We're going to kick things off. We're going to get it rolling. We're going to have one hell of a good time out there. So that's April 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So as of right now, we are full steam ahead on those. We need your financial support on those, ladies and gentlemen. This is a lot different than with the COPE organization, where we had people constantly funding everything that's going on. I would encourage you to help support this. You can go to the website that is on your screen right there, www.thenewpatriotpack.com. And if you could click that donation button. We need to raise $35,000 to put all these shows on. I mean, it's a big production. We are sparing no expense. We are spending that money to encourage people, to get people signed up, to get involved in their local community or in their county party. We're going to be getting people signed up and registered to vote. And we're going to be doing a lot of things out there, but it takes money to do that. $35,000 for the whole weekend. That pays for everything. So we need your support. There is no limit on the giving. You can give whatever you want to give. And if you would rather write a check and mail that in, there's an address there at the website. You can do that as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me tonight. We've got Lauren Kolb coming up here in about 20 minutes on the same channel. And Lauren has got a great message for you tonight. And he and I discussed it before my show. And I know you're really going to enjoy it. He's going to name some names and drop some heavy lumber on these guys. So with that, you will see me next week. And if it's not me, it's going to be my wife next week. Someone's going to be here next week. We love you guys. And keep pushing back, keep fighting. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Good night.